You open your laptop after work, check your income, and feel that same low grade pressure to get ahead. But the real mistake is thinking AI is just another useful tool, when it is actually a brief leverage window. In some jobs, AI users are already finishing work about 25% faster, which is not exciting so much as quietly unsettling. Because when one tool changes what one person can earn, entire markets start repricing fast. And most people will realize that only after the easiest upside is gone. Take two people living through the exact same AI era. They are in the same general stage of adulthood. They both have bills. They both feel behind in some way. They both know the economy has become harder to trust. They both want more money, more breathing room, and more control over their future. Neither one starts with a huge audience, a giant team, elite technical training, or some venture backed tech company. They are normal adults trying to improve their position in the real world while the ground keeps shifting under them. But over the next 3 years, they make one different decision, and that decision changes almost everything. The first person treats AI like background noise. They know it is growing, they see headlines, they hear coworkers mention it, they maybe even feel a little intimidated by it. But they keep placing it in the category of something I should probably learn eventually. They use it casually when they remember. Maybe they ask it to rewrite an email. Maybe they use it for a few ideas. Maybe they watch videos about AI tools late at night and mistake that for progress. Maybe they bookmark courses, save threads, and tell themselves they are staying informed. But they never move from curiosity to implementation. They never ask the serious question: how do I turn this into income, leverage, or ownership? So time passes. AI keeps improving. Competitors adopt it. New businesses appear. Expectations rise. Pricing pressure increases. And this person slowly finds themselves in the worst possible position: late, aware, and dependent. Now look at the second person. Same economy, same uncertainty, same distractions. But they recognize one thing early. AI is not mainly a consumer novelty. It is a force multiplier. So instead of admiring the tools from a distance, they start building around them. They pick one commercial lane. Maybe that is service delivery. Maybe it is content. Maybe it is lead generation. Maybe it is education, research support, sales operations, client communication, niche publishing, product development, automation for local businesses, or internal workflow systems for small companies. They do not try to become a philosopher of AI. They become a user with economic intent. This person learns enough to compress effort. They reduce the time it takes to produce useful work. They improve consistency. They test offers faster. They create drafts faster. They analyze faster. They package faster. They reach clients faster. They fail faster too, which matters, because fast failure is often what clears the path to fast adjustment. Within months, they have something the first person does not: repetition, real reps, commercial reps, market reps. And that means learning accumulates in a way casual interest never can. Then the gap widens. The first person still thinks the opportunity is somewhere in the future. The second person is already inside it. The first person is still asking which tools matter. The second person already knows which ones actually reduce labor, create demand, or improve margins. The first person waits for certainty. The second person benefits from the exact confusion that makes others hesitate. And here is the crucial part. The difference is not just income. It becomes positioning. The early mover builds systems, relationships, products, distribution, testimonials, and operational instinct while the market is still inefficient. That means when the crowd finally arrives, They are no longer trying to enter, they are already established. That is how wealth windows usually work. They do not reward the most excited people. They reward the people who move while the map is still incomplete. By the time the average person feels comfortable saying, yes, this is a real opportunity, the biggest asymmetry is often gone. That is the fork in the road here. One person spends years observing a wealth shift. The other spends years participating in it. From the outside, the gap may look sudden later. In reality, it started quietly with one choice: treat AI as a passing feature or treat it as a once-in-a-decade leverage event. The hidden truth is that the AI wealth opportunity is not mainly about building the next giant AI company. It is not about becoming a machine learning researcher. It is not about inventing a new model. And it is definitely not about becoming the loudest person online talking about prompts. That misunderstanding causes enormous confusion because it makes ordinary people think the opportunity belongs mostly to elite technical insiders, founders with capital, or engineers working at the frontier. It does not. The deepest part of this opportunity is that AI dramatically lowers the amount of labor, skill stacking, and coordination required to create value that people will actually pay for. That is the real mechanism. AI collapses execution cost. For most of modern economic life, there was a painful bottleneck between having an idea and turning that idea into something usable, sellable, or scalable. You needed time. You needed specialized skills. You needed freelancers. You needed employees. You needed capital. You needed patience. You needed to tolerate friction at every stage. Research took longer. Writing took longer. Prototyping took longer. Editing took longer. Analysis took longer. Communication took longer. Revision took longer. Packaging took longer. That meant many people never crossed the line from "I could do something" to "I built something." Not because they lacked ambition, but because the cost of execution was too high, too slow, too fragmented, and too dependent on other people. AI changes that equation. Suddenly, one person can perform what used to require multiple roles. One person can draft, refine, summarize, structure, test, organize, automate, personalize, and publish at a scale that used to feel unrealistic without a small team. One person can move from idea to output with much less drag in the middle. That does not mean the work becomes effortless. It means the ratio changes. The output you can create per unit of time, money, and cognitive effort starts rising fast. And whenever that happens, wealth opportunities appear because markets do not instantly know how to price the new reality. This is why the title matters. The opportunity is not AI is cool. The opportunity is AI changes who can execute, how fast they can execute, and how cheaply they can execute. That creates a temporary period where the market still pays old prices for work produced under a new cost structure. That gap is where wealth gets built. The early operator can produce premium output faster than buyers understand. The early business owner can serve more clients without proportional hiring. The early creator can publish at a higher level and frequency. The early consultant can diagnose and deliver faster. The early product builder can launch with lower overhead. This is not a small improvement, it is leverage. And here's the part many people miss. Once the market fully adjusts, the opportunity narrows. As more people adopt the same capability, the premium shifts. What was once rare becomes standard. What once felt magical becomes expected. Margins compress. Competition increases. Clients become more demanding. Platforms become crowded. Buyers become harder to impress. That is why the timing matters so much. Wealth does not usually come from owning a tool after everyone understands it. Wealth often comes from using a tool during the period when the world has not fully priced in what it can do. That is the hidden truth under this title. This is not a general statement that technology creates opportunities. That is too weak. This is a specific claim. AI has temporarily expanded individual productive power so sharply that people who translate that power into real market value early can capture outsized rewards before the advantage normalizes. That is what makes it once in a decade. Not because AI will disappear, because the early imbalance between capability and market adjustment is where the richest opportunity usually lives. The proof is already stronger than most people realize. In a large field study of more than 5,000 customer support agents, researchers Eric Brynjolfsson, Danielle Lee, and Lindsay Raymond found that generative AI raised productivity by about 14 to 15% overall, while less experienced and lower skilled workers saw gains closer to 30 to 35%. That matters because it shows exactly how a wealth window opens. When one group can suddenly produce more in the same hour, before compensation systems, staffing models, and market pricing fully reset, the people who understand the tool gain an immediate advantage in output, margin, and job security. They can handle more demand, reduce time costs, and become harder to ignore inside the same business system. The market does not adjust in one day. For a period of time, the people using AI intelligently are simply operating with more productive power than the old benchmark assumes. And that gap is where early financial advantage starts to form. The same pattern appeared in high-value knowledge work. In the Harvard Business School and Boston Consulting Group field experiment, consultants using GPT-4 completed 12.2% more tasks, finished 25.1% faster, and produced work of more than 40% higher quality on average. That is not a novelty result. That is a direct shift in billable capacity, turnaround speed, and perceived value. If a consultant, strategist, analyst, or operator can deliver more work faster at better quality while the market is still pricing people under older assumptions, that gap becomes a temporary wealth opportunity. It creates a window where understanding AI is not just interesting, it is economically mispriced. Writing heavy work shows the same thing. In a controlled study published in Science, researchers found that workers using ChatGPT completed professional writing tasks 40% faster, with output quality rising by 18%. That matters because modern white-collar work is full of writing in disguise. Proposals, summaries, emails, briefs, research notes, client communication, planning documents, and internal decision support. When those outputs become materially faster and better, the people who adapt early can handle more volume, respond more quickly, and create more value before employers, clients, and competitors fully reprice what that level of performance should cost. That is what a wealth window looks like in practice. Higher productive power first, broader market adjustment later. And this is not happening at the edge anymore. McKinsey reported in 2024 that 65% of surveyed organizations were already regularly using generative AI, nearly double the share from the prior survey, while its broader estimate put generative AI's annual economic potential at $2.6 trillion to $4.4 trillion. Stanford's 2025 AI Index then showed business usage rising further, with 78% of organizations reporting AI use in 2024, and global private investment in generative AI reaching $33.9 billion. Those numbers matter because they confirm both sides of the claim at once. The productive power is real, and the adjustment process is still underway. That is why the window exists. It does not stay open forever. Early adopters capture the easiest gains, while the rest of the market is still learning what has changed. So if this opportunity is real, why are so many people still standing still? Because human psychology is poorly designed for early wealth transitions. Most people think they miss opportunities because they lack intelligence, discipline, or resources. Those matter, but they are not the deepest problem here. The deeper problem is that the human mind is built to trust what already looks socially validated. It prefers visible stability over emerging asymmetry. It wants proof that other people already agree. It wants the path to look respectable before it commits. That instinct can protect you from scams. It can also keep you chronically late, especially when the shift is real, but still uneven enough to look debatable from a distance. AI triggers several psychological traps at the same time. The first is novelty dismissal. When something feels new, strange, or overexposed online, many people reduce it to probably hype. That reaction feels mature. It feels skeptical. But skepticism becomes a liability when it stops being analytical and turns into avoidance. A lot of people are not carefully examining AI and rejecting weak parts of it. They are emotionally pushing it into the category of annoying internet thing, so they do not have to confront what it might mean for their own economic future. The second trap is identity protection. Many adults do not want to feel like beginners again. They do not want to enter a fast-moving field where younger people, technical people, or louder people appear more fluent. So they delay. They tell themselves they are waiting for the tools to improve, or for a clearer use case, or for more time. But underneath that story is often a quieter truth. Starting feels threatening to the identity they already built. The problem is that wealth opportunities do not care about your comfort with being new. They reward action during the phase when your ego still wishes conditions were neater and your status still wants permission to stay untouched. The third trap is false complexity. Because AI is tied to advanced technology, people assume the opportunity must belong mainly to coders, founders, or specialists. That belief lets them stay passive. It gives them a reason to watch instead of participate. But many of the strongest economic opportunities in early technological shifts do not come from building the deepest layer. They come from commercial application, distribution, workflow integration, packaging, niche problem solving, client-facing implementation. The psychology of "I'm probably not technical enough" becomes a convenient excuse that hides from the more useful question: what valuable process can I improve, automate, sell, or own using these tools? The fourth trap is waiting for clean certainty. This one is deadly. People want the opportunity to become obvious before they move. But if it becomes obvious to everyone, then by definition, the edge is shrinking. The best phase is uncomfortable because the signal is mixed. Some people are making real money. Some are pretending. Some products are powerful. Some are worthless. Some claims are inflated. Some are understated. That ambiguity scares most people away. Yet that same ambiguity is exactly what leaves room for outsized gains, because it suppresses competition from the majority. And beneath all of this is a more emotional truth. Many people do not actually believe they can catch a major wave while it is still rising. They think those chances belong to other people: early founders, insiders, famous creators, already rich operators. So they unconsciously assign themselves the role of observer. They study the opportunity as if it belongs to a different class of person. That mindset is expensive. The psychological battle here is not just about learning AI. It is about allowing yourself to act while the story is still unfinished. The people who benefit most from once-in-a-decade shifts are rarely the people with the strongest opinions. They are the people who tolerate uncertainty long enough to build position before certainty becomes crowded. That is the real mental hurdle in this title. Not understanding that AI matters, understanding that it matters now, and acting before your mind feels fully ready. So what do you do with this without turning it into fantasy, panic, or empty hustle? You stop asking whether AI is interesting and start asking where AI creates leverage that can become ownership, income, or strategic advantage in your real life. That is the right frame. Not entertainment, not blind optimism. Leverage. The first move is to pick one economic lane, not 10, one. A once-in-a-decade opportunity becomes useless if you spread your attention across random experiments with no commercial center. Choose one place where value can clearly be created. That might be a service you can deliver faster and better. It might be a niche problem small businesses keep paying to solve. It might be a media format you can produce consistently. It might be research packaging, process automation, sales support, proposal writing, internal documentation, customer communication systems, educational products, lead generation assets, or a specialized information product. The point is to connect AI to a money pathway, not to abstract curiosity. The second move is to use AI to reduce execution cost immediately. Ask a brutal question. What part of building, selling, delivering, or improving this offer currently eats most of my time? That is where AI should go first. Not where it looks impressive, where it removes friction. Use it to shorten the distance between intent and output. Draft faster, research faster, organize faster, test faster, refine faster, follow up faster. The goal is not to play with tools. The goal is to increase the number of serious commercial reps you can complete every week and make it easier to stay consistent long enough for momentum to become visible. The third move is to build something you own. This matters because wealth opportunities are strongest when leverage compounds into assets, not just temporary labor. AI can help you freelance better, yes, but do not stop there. Turn repeatable work into frameworks. Turn frameworks into products. Turn useful knowledge into templates. Turn templates into systems. Turn systems into offers other people can buy without needing your full time every minute. The difference between income and wealth often begins there. Income depends on continued effort. Wealth grows when effort creates something that keeps producing value after the original work. The fourth move is to move before you feel fully qualified. This is where most people fail. They keep learning without deploying. They consume without building. They refine opinions without testing offers. That behavior feels responsible. It often hides fear. The market does not pay for private understanding. It pays for applied usefulness. You do not need perfect mastery of AI to benefit from the wealth window. You need enough mastery to solve a real problem better, faster, or more profitably than before. The fifth move is to treat speed as an asset. In a normal period, moving slowly may not destroy you. In a leverage transition, it can. Because the value of early action is not just first revenue, it is first positioning, first case studies, first systems, first credibility, first understanding of what buyers actually care about. By the time the average person decides it is finally time to get serious, you want to be standing on a body of work, not on intentions. That is the conclusion locked inside this title. This is the once-in-a-decade AI wealth opportunity, because a rare gap has opened between what one person can now do and what the market has fully adjusted to expect. That gap is where disproportionate upside lives. Not forever, right now. The people who treat this period like casual entertainment may still use AI later. The people who treat it like a leverage event can change their financial future while the advantage is still uneven. That is the decision in front of you. Not whether AI exists, whether you will meet this wealth window as a spectator or as a builder.